second, you have that opportunity to get that turn 1 Melodious Echo, and that can almost certainly turn the game, especially if you're knocking out something like a 2-prize Pokemon with.
Yeah, in this matchup, if you go first, you want to get 2 1-prize Pokemon in play. That way, your opponent is forced to take a 1-prize knockout. You can retreat into one, or if your opponent plays Escape Rope, they can force one up. And that is a really interesting tech card there, Ethan, the Flannery.
I did a double take on that. I was like, wait, are we on the right list here? Are we good? Are we good? But yeah, Flannery is very interesting. It actually could be a very important card in the mirror match too. But it being at the top of the
disruption option potentially.
Yeah, at the top of the prizes though means it most likely won't come into play, at least in this game. But getting rid of a special energy and also forcing you to discard a stadium is great because it's another out against Path to the Peak. However, not in this matchup necessarily. But
yeah, I feel like that can be a really powerful card against an Arceus deck. Obviously, you discard a Path, so it's another out for you to continue to draw, but you can also disrupt them a little bit by discarding a double Turbo Energy on their side. And here we go. We're about to get underway. Mateusz on the left, Heddi on the right. Who's going first? That is very important in this Mew mirror match.
And speaking of a mirror match, got Mew starts for both players. And looks like Mateusz will be going first here to start things off. No Battle Pass right away. But Quick Ball is as good as anything else, and another Meloetta as well. So getting that 1-prize Pokemon down right away. We'll have to see if they do take that route. I 100% agree with you. I believe going for that is important. Getting those two 1-prize Pokemon down, or Oricorio is a great option for that because you might as well get it down right now. And if they play the Escape Rope, you could just go ahead and throw up something like the Meloetta and eventually bench another one. And it's a trade-off for sure, and this is where things are going to get quite interesting. Wants to play the safer side, so we are going to see the Quick Ball get rid of the Chromatic. I've seen some players say, I'm going to risk it because I value taking a coin flip for.
Is that a Chromatic or is that an Ultra Ball? I think
is that Ultra Ball?
A Sun and Moon Ultra Ball.
Oh, it looks so
It is similar,
on the
right?
side. Oh, okay, so that works out there. There's the Chromatic. So he also has the Chromatic, and looks like eyeing up either that Rotom Phone or that Power Tablet. And this will be a big flip. Ooh, flips tails there, so he's not going to be able to find that Battle VIP pass, but still a very solid start. So interesting choice, really prioritizing keeping the Power Tablet. Would have been a better trade-off, I feel, to have that Rotom Phone this turn when you're going to maybe get 1 or 2 cards off of this Fusion Strike system to maybe find yourself another Battle VIP pass. But Mateusz is here at 5-0, so he knows more than maybe we do in this case. So feels confident in the ability to save the Power Tablet for the following turn.
Drawing some cards with Fusion Strike system does find the Oricorio, so the 2 1-prize Pokemon have been put in play, exactly what you want to see. Heddi can get ahead with a knockout here, but it doesn't feel good to put that much energy in play on an active Pokemon when you're only taking 1 prize.
Yeah, it feels pretty, I don't know, it feels like a back and forth, and missing the Battle VIP past that turn 1 is, yeah, it's not really what you want to see right away, but does at least get down those 2 1-prize Pokemon, so that's exactly what you want to see. Action over on Heddi. Going to go ahead and looks like get rid of that Mew VMAX off of the Quick Ball. Going to be able to find any basic Pokemon out of the deck. So it looks like eyeing up something else like the... I have to imagine a Genesect because you want to at least start to draw.
Always a good grab right away.
Yeah, we see it get fanned right to the top, but it really does vary with the hands. But usually priority is on these Genesect because the more cards you draw, the more options you have to start doing 1 Genesect turns to 2 into 3, and then your other support Pokemon like your Oricorio come into play next. But this is a turn Heddi has the potential to get that turn 1 Melodious Echo. But even then the downside is if not, then things can get a little scary because Mateusz will be on the offensive, have the opportunity to apply some pressure. So this is kind of where Heidi's got to decide, what do I go for? What do I really want to get done this turn?
Yeah, I got to decide, am I going for this knockout? Do I just want to maybe do something similar where I put 2 1-prizers in play? The risk of that is that Mateusz will be able to play boss's orders. So, Heddi's going to play the Escape Rope, force up the Oricorio. Good decision from Mateusz. Maybe Heidi's just playing that, hoping maybe the Genesect will get sent up, just maybe. Oh, and just an attach of the double Turbo Energy, and is only drawing 1 card here off the Fusion Strike system. What is that 1 card?
He's keeping it hidden. It's a Mew.
Oh, that's not good. So that means the other card is something unplayable, and it just has to be a pass. This is a massive opening for Mateusz. Slams down the double turbo energy and the Mew VMAX instantly, drawing a couple of cards. There's an Alessa Sparkle, a Quick Ball, so we can continue to see the stream of cards continue to be drawn.
Yeah, it's going to have an opportunity to draw even more with this Quick Ball. Most likely going to find another Genesect for that Fusion Strike system. And this is going to be an interesting line. We could see the Alessa Sparkle throw energy onto this Oricorio to guarantee the retreat, but you really want to be saving those for later on in the game, as we are actually going to see that played right away. And exactly, he's going to go ahead and target that Oricorio and the Meloetta, and this is what allows this Oricorio to be solid as also one retreat cost. It's not like the Genesect. It is a bird. It's a little more agile, I would say, than Genesect, but I'd still say Genesect's pretty agile too. But regardless, going to go ahead and guarantee the retreat for turn. When you're this ahead, when you have this tempo, you really don't want to play risky. You want to try to guarantee that. So very smart play there from Mateusz.
Well, also putting this energy on the Oricorio, I think less so than retreating it, is it puts it on a one-prize Pokemon. So if you put the Fusion Strike energy on a Genesect, it can allow the Mew opponent in the mirror match to gust a two-prize Pokemon and take out a Fusion Strike energy. So Mateusz is basically saying, if you want to knock a Fusion Strike energy out of play, it's going to have to be by knocking out a one-prize Pokemon.
Yep, taking down two things with one, right? So it works out very well, as we are going to see Fog Crystal. Looks like it failed. Actually, no, going to go ahead and grab that Mew V. So prioritizing, grabbing another Pokemon. So now this Genesect will be drawing up to 6. However, both have been used, I believe, for the turn. And already has the switch in hand, so gets both done. Has the energy now on that one prize Pokemon, as Mew V will come up. And it looks like, yep, going to just go ahead and show. So that's good. So we get an easier representation here. Flashing the Genesect, showing I'm using Technoblast this turn to take the knockout.
Yep.
That's 2 prizes. And from there, if Mateusz can consistently get these gusting effects on these 2-prize Pokemon, it's going to be very easy for the route to victory.
Heddi needs a top deck and needs it now. Boss's Orders, Empower Tablet, now drawing 2 cards off of the Fusion Strike system. What are these cards? That's not going to be it. Fusion Strike energy and another Power Tablet. You've got an energy on Mew, but it doesn't have any colorless attacks. Heddi sees the writing on the wall, scoops it up, says, this game was not mine. Hopefully game 2 will go a little bit better.
Yeah, I didn't get to show off the flannery. So
unfortunate.
Unfortunately, but now if it's not on the prizes, you get to show it off at least. So we're going ahead and get into game 2 now. So very fast game 1. Mateusz showing us if you set up, if you get rolling, if you get going, this is what Mew does. And on the other end of things, Heddi was not able to find any of the pieces, and therefore it just was over that quickly. That's how quickly Mew can put on aggression, and that's how consistently it can put on aggression.
Yeah, and well, I mean, we saw both sides of the coin in that game, and that's really, I feel like I've heard this sentiment from a lot of players that they don't like to play Mew because they feel like it's inconsistent, which I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. You know, with the 4 Battle VIP Pass, 4 Ultra Ball, 4 Quick Ball, it's pretty easy to get things set up, but if you just have one of those awkward hands where you don't find any of those powerful search cards on turn 1, you don't have regular draw supporters to get you out of it, right? You don't have a Professor's Research you can play to just ditch the hand and draw 7 more to work with. You're really reliant on getting set up, and Battle VIP Pass is the main way players try to do that.
The reason this deck is able to play 6 supporter cards and no draw supporters is because of how powerful Genesect is throughout the entire game, not just as a one-time use, not just as an early game draw, but at any point during the game. So inconsistent, yeah, I don't know if I agree with that.
I don't buy that one.
I'm not buying that. No, I'm not buying that at all. It can be clunky at times, but that's maybe at the
that's just Pokemon.
That's just how the game works. I mean, we see that with the most consistent of decks. Zoroark is a deck that can consistently draw cards, and we even saw in decks like Robin's for 2018 Worlds. It plays draw supporters on top of that too, even with the powerful abilities we get to the next game.
Both players here really similar prize cards. A Fusion Strike energy, a Genesect V. Really similar stuff going on, but nothing too crazy. The Fusion Strike energy is a little unfortunate to have prized, but since both players have it prized, not too big of a deal.
Yeah, looks like game 2 getting underway. We'll see what the starters are. Is it a true mirror? It's always the same.
And things are already looking so much better for Heddi, getting the Battle VIP Pass, the card you can only play on the first turn of the game. but it has a powerful effect, getting you 2 basic Pokemon and allowing you to put them directly onto the bench. A card that was really just made to go alongside Genesect.
I don't know if there's a card that gives me more joy than finding this on turn 1. It's like being a kid under Christmas. You get
yeah, that, and then I think like flipping heads on Cramomatic. Those are probably the 2 big ones, and you get both of them in the Mew VMAX deck, which is what's exciting.
I'd rather flip heads on Crushing Hammer, but
Crushing Hammer, this guy.
But regardless, going to be able to find any 2 basics. We see double Genesect usually the grab off of this because you want to just start to draw cards as quickly as possible, especially because, I mean, it's the same. Usually it would be Genesect when this variant played Fog Crystal, but with the release of Ultra Ball, there's no need to play something like Fog Crystal when you have enough outs to search anything in the deck now. So it's just going to go ahead and grab 2 Genesect V off that Battle VIP pass. We'll see what the rest of the hand is working with for Heddi. But exactly how you want to start things off. You want a Battle VIP pass. We'll see if there's the fabled double Battle VIP pass.
We saw the deck being shuffled, so I don't think that's the case. There is a Cramomatic in hand. Ooh, but the only thing to discard is a Power Tablet. That hurts, but is it heads? Oh, no, it is a tails, which is quite unfortunate because now you've lost that key resource for basically nothing.
Yeah, it does have the second 1 prize Pokemon key here if you are going first. And no other cards to be able to play. You could play the other Power Tablet, but to draw 1 extra card.
I think that's what Heddi's debating on here.
Yeah, as we will see, the first Fusion Strike system finds a Mew. That's a good card. That means you get to draw 2 cards now off of this second Fusion Strike system, and it's a Pokemon you want to play onto your bench as well. So it's not going to clog it up. It's there for its purpose, as we will see the second Fusion Strike system. And even with this sort of slow-ish, like not really like drawing too much Tails and Chromatic, this is what you want to see here. You get your Mew down, you have your 1 prize Pokemon down. No energy necessarily, but because Double Turbo is now a case, it's not as important to find that turn 1 energy. You most likely aren't going to be needing a 4 energy Melodious Echo to keep
another
up the
Cramomatic.
And
this one is heads for Mateusz. And I gotta think this will get Battle VIP pass right away. We've talked about it. So good. The key card on turn 1. And both of these players being able to utilize at least 1 copy on their first turn is definitely a good way to start a second game.
Yeah. Surely it's going to be that Battle VIP pass. We'll see if it's also for the double Genesect. Again, usually that Melodious Echo play going second is strong, but because it is on a 1 prize Pokemon necessarily, the trade-off...
It makes you think about it.
Yeah, it becomes the route. It becomes weird because at the cost of taking 1 prize before your opponent does, you're giving up 2 Fusion Strike energy because there is a high probability that there will be a return knockout, in this case over on Heidi's side. So, and it's actually going to be for the Mew and the Genesect. So maybe he wants to start to power up that Mew instead, get that down. Maybe there's something like a double Turbo energy or a single energy, but no, we actually have already see a great hand here. There is an Elisa Sparkle in combination with
targeting
a Fusion Strike energy all in hand already. So is going to go onto both Meloetta, and this is where things start to get scary. We see the energy is going to be able to get accelerated out. With 1 being prized, though, this can get a little concerning because that means you will be out of Fusion Strike energy for the time being if this Meloetta were to get knocked out.
Oh, and just chose to accelerate 1. That is definitely interesting. Only putting 1 in play. I guess there must be 1 in hand, or maybe is there 2 in hand? And I'm not sure why Mateusz didn't want to just go ahead and put both in play. Is maybe just saving them for putting on a Mew potentially later in the game, which would make sense.
Yeah, there's that route you can always put
there's
on
the
later.
second one.
Yeah, there's that, and it looks like a double Turbo Energy, and what I think looks like a Boss's Orders as that last card. It does find some solid reps here. There is the Fog Crystal, but not a lot of space here now for Genesect, so you're going to be at the time capped out to 2 Fusion Strike systems. Still, nothing to scoff at. Being able to drop to 6 twice is very solid, but I would have to assume instead you would like to have another one, but most likely we'll have another bench space opening up the next turn for a Genesect to come down. This is where things get quite interesting, as we will be able to... I think we are done for Fusion Strike systems at the moment, but a nice way to end your turn off is with that Rotom phone. It allows you to pick a card you want to see at the start of your turn. Some tempting offers there, something like the Choice Belt or the Ultra Ball, which will not only refill the hand up by getting rid of some pieces to thin out, but more so finds you Mew VMAX, which you're going to want to attack with the following turn.
Absolutely. That'll certainly be what Mateusz is trying to attack with on the next turn. So for Heddi, I think that the strat could be in this game to just try to knock out 3 2-prize Pokemon. That is a line you can take as the Mew player, and you never have to deal with a potential Mew VMAX. The problem with that becomes you risk letting Meloetta get out of hand. And if that happens, things become kind of an issue. Usually you can go for that play if your opponent puts like a Fusion Strike energy on a 2-prize Pokemon. So in this spot, it makes things awkward that Heddi is going to feel pressured to deal with this 1-prize Pokemon in the active.
Yeah, Heddi's got to decide what the play is. Revealing the Flannery to his opponent, maybe he's like, they're like, oh, what? What do we have here?
What is this?
Can I read this, please? My favorite is the on stream. Can I read this? But I think Flannery has seen niche play here and there. It obviously has not been like a staple card. That hasn't been on the other side of a totally under.
Yeah, it's come up every once in a while, I feel like.
But it's not really necessarily needed, especially on this turn when all the energies are hopefully going to be removed, pending there is either something like an Alessa Sparkle or a double turbo energy onto that Mew. Have to imagine that's what you want to be attacking with, as unless there is a crazy shenanigan of Power Tablet in combination with Choice Belt turn, this Mew is going to be pretty safe, which I'm already not that confident saying that, because this is Mew. Things can happen with this deck. Numbers can be hit out of absolutely nowhere, as we are going to see that first Fusion Strike system. Not quite 6. It is going to go ahead and fill back up to 5. Some cards you don't want to see Battle VIP Pass. Like to get rid of that as soon as possible. Saw an Escape Rope in there and a Chromatic, or excuse me, a Rotom Phone. Could be able to grab some cards. I believe there's also a Chromatic in there too. So this will be a big flip here. This would guarantee something like the double turbo energy if Heidi decides to go for that route, as this is actually exactly what you want to see. There's a double turbo energy or the boss's orders. So now you got to make an interesting call of what do you go for in this position.
Many options available. I almost wonder if Heddi could have used the Chromatic before Rotom Phone, so that way if you flip heads or tails, you get to decide what play you want to go for. But by using the Rotom Phone first, you get to draw, just one less card, but now you know for sure what you would want to get off of Chromatic if you hit heads on it. Yes. So, both plays make sense, and this is what Heddi's decided to go with. We'll see how it works out.
Yeah, maybe a switch in hand, retreating into that Genesect, I assume. Actually, the Escape Rope. Yep, the Escape Rope that was grabbed. Well, it's actually pretty interesting that we are going to see the Escape Rope. Means that it's probably something like that boss play I have to assume you would be going for. But does find a double turbo energy off that Rotom Phone that was stacked on top of the deck. And this will be a big Chromatic. Do we see the heads flip here? Oh, unfortunate the Tails not able to find the boss's orders. There is still one more Fusion Strike system, and I wasn't sure if there was a way to get a basic down. I think there's a Fusion Strike energy in that hand. Not something you want to see. You want to be able to accelerate that out of there, but I believe we'll be drawing 4 cards off of this. Do we see boss's orders? There's a Chromatic. Is there an item to discard that? There is. We could try again, roll our luck.
Or get Quick Ball, use it to grab another Genesect. I feel like you need to put a Mew in that place, though, so that would be a little risky. I think it's going to be onto this Chromatic if boss's orders could happen or not. Or, Heddi's just playing the game of, I don't think you have all 4 of your Fusion Strike energies, which is a reasonable assumption since Mateusz only accelerated 1 from the deck with Alessa Sparkle last turn.
Yeah, it's sort of like going for that play where you accelerate 2 is
another Tails on Chromatic.
Oh,
that's 3 this game.
Yeah, 0 for 3. Sometimes it's one way, sometimes it's the middle, and sometimes it's like this where the card essentially just acts as a thinner. It is cool that it does discard a card in order to use it, because it is at least serving some sort of purpose. It's able to thin the hand out so you can draw more cards or something like that Fusion Strike system. But we are just going to see double turbo energy. Going to take the knockout onto that Meloetta. But interesting to note, because the Escape Rope got played, there's still that Meloetta with 2 Fusion Strike energy, and this now opens the door up that if you're just going to go ahead and attack with the Mew, now you force Heddi to go and play a Gusting card in order to take care of that, and it never feels good to play a Gusting card to take a single prize.
Mateusz will use boss's orders to bring up Genesect V, now looking just for the Mew VMAX in order to take a knockout, and we know that Ultra Ball got stacked last turn with the Rotom Phone, so now Mew VMAX can come into play, and Cross Fusion Strike can copy the Techno Blast for a 2-prize KO.
Fog Crystal as well will find a Mew out of the deck. I have to assume you would like those last 2 slots for Genesect, but one is prized as well, so it's not the end of the world, and I think just is overall worth to draw that extra card, maybe off of that. But debating to see, do I want to play this? And it is interesting to see Fog Crystal in this list. You are playing the one of Psychic, so you can search it out. But it really comes down to, do you need the more searching options? You already have 8 in deck. You actually have 16 in deck. You have the 4 Battle VIP Pass, the 4 Quick Ball, and the 4 Ultra Ball. But in this case, it works out. It's a thinnable card. It finds another Pokemon. It allows you to draw more cards. And it's actually going to go ahead and grab the Psychic Energy instead. So not opting to grab that. But with you already playing the double Turbo Energy down, this is it's an interesting grab to
well, if there's no more Genesects in hand, it doesn't really matter because you've already used your 1 Fusion Strike system, right? So Mateusz not having the strongest draws, but is still ahead by taking the 2nd and 3rd prize card of this game. Heddi now still having the Mew VMAX available. Can they reach for a 1-hit knockout this turn? And with 2 power tablets in the discard pile, I don't know that it's possible.
There's like a very slim route where you can work this out, where you
it's a heavy dig.
Boss KO this turn, get a Fusion Strike Energy down now, and then the next turn you would have the ability to get that 280 potential. Otherwise, with 3 prizes remaining, either you feed a 1 prizer or 2 prizer this turn, and then a boss gets game, or you get to the position where you send the Mew up, it gets hit, and then the boss happens later on. So. Looks like we are seeing the first Fusion Strike system get played. Looks like going to draw into an Oricorio. That's what you want to play down in this slot because you want a 1-prize Pokemon to utilize Alyssa Sparkle on at some point, I feel like. And more importantly, the damage reduction makes it even harder for that crazy 280 plus a bunch of the damage amplifier shenanigans, as it looks like we are going to see the Alyssa Sparkle get played now. So this is where we have to see a lot of damage modifiers come into play. Assume that will go on to the Meloetta and the Oricorio.
I think chose the Meloetta and the Mew, and I actually think it would have been fine in this instance to put it on the Mew because you can VMAX it this turn. If you can evolve it this turn, you know your opponent's not going to be able to get a boss KO on it. Most likely, I mean, it technically could happen, but that protects that Fusion Strike energy a little bit more. Heddi did not have one in the deck, unfortunately, though. So
we're finally going to see the Tower of Darkness potentially come into play. Drew into a tower and another tower.
There we go.
So there we go. We get to see this interaction here. Gets pretty much a free trade for 2 cards, and not what you want to see there. There's another Alyssa Sparkle, but with a Fusion Strike energy and the prize cards, it's not going to be very useful. Yeah, command turn's kind of just going to sit there until you can find a way to discard it. You do have the choice belt, but you're setting up for a 2-hit knockout regardless, so the math isn't necessarily as relevant. I may like to just see that get held for potentially a hit out of nowhere, but no, just going to go ahead and commit this here, and this is looking very rough for Heddi, especially because you're just going to be swinging into this, and the mapping is there for Mateusz to line up this game in 2 turns. Hit into this Mew V, or, I mean, there's no reason to gust. You don't need to because you're going to have to gust once more necessarily, most likely so.
Well, there's a path for Mateusz where they win by going gust, right? Knock out a 2-prizer, knock out a 1-prizer. And by doing that, you play around your opponent potentially using Psychic Leap to put the Mew VMAX that's heavily damaged back into the deck. So in theory, 2-hit KOing a VMAX and then KOing a 2-prizer and 1-prizer is the same thing, but it doesn't quite work whenever Mew VMAX has the option to just shuffle itself back in and get that element of healing that this deck has available to it.
Having such a large amount of versatile attacks to use really is what allows this deck to get itself out of sticky situations like that.
Yeah, even glistening droplets, the Oricorio's attack. I've seen that used in the Malamar matchup before, targeting down some poor Inkays.
Yeah, everything seems to have a purpose. Great abilities, great attacks. This is Mew VMAX, ladies and gentlemen.
There it is.
Mew VMAX things, and these players 5-0 for a reason, and there's no surprise that it's at the top tables, as we will see the Rose Tower. Looks like getting 2 cards off of that. Has only used 1 Fusion Strike system so far, as there's the first power tablet. There's a world in which this knockout happens. There's a Fusion Strike energy, and I don't believe we've seen an attachment yet. Maybe we have to the... I believe actually that was the start of turn there, was actually the attachment. So that's very unfortunate to actually draw into that Fusion Strike energy, because that means now that will not be able to be Alyssa Sparkled. But now you're also setting yourself on a 2-turn clock to say, even if you go for a play like Psychic Leap, you're not knocking anything out, most likely. The only reason you knock something out is if you were targeting down a Meloetta. At that point, it sets things up. But it's unfortunate to have those things happen. I've had games where I'm like, oh, all I need to do is not top deck Fusion Strike energy, and I can just Alyssa for game. And lo and behold, it's what it is. But just going to the deck, doing typical Mew things.
Plays the boss's orders as well before the draw here, which is nice. It gets you one more card drawn, and with this Mew already being reset, sent to the bench, you now are able to knock it out with the Techno Blast. And Mateusz is basically setting a situation up where there's 2 win conditions on the next turn. You can either boss's order as a single prizer and knock it out with Mew VMAX, or you have potentially 4 Fusion Strike energies in play on the next turn, and you just need a couple of modifiers with that Oricorio in play in order to knock out a Mew VMAX. So a few ways to close the game out here for Mateusz. Definitely in the driver's seat in Game 2.
Yeah, cool play we could potentially saw with a few more damage modifiers would be something like a Psychic Leaf knockout into a 1 prize now, and then going to that. But because you're already reducing your damage as it is with the double turbo energy, you're at 50, 80 with the tablet. You would need double tablet in order to do that. But we are going to see the knockout going down to just a single prize. Heddi's got to put something together.
Back against the wall here, 5 prizes to 1. Can Heddi find a path back into this game? It is looking quite bleak, but it's not over till it's over. I've seen some crazy comebacks in the Pokemon TCG. Does Heddi have the pieces, though, or have too many key resources already been used?
This is what it's going to come down to. Has the nice evolution lines and the Alessa Sparkle. This will pretty much mean a boss's orders away, or even potentially a big Melodious Echo away from cleaning this game out, as we will see. Looks like just going to go ahead and fail it. There's none left, but because
one's in the prize
it's private
still.
Knowledge that card is prized
right.
not out, you can still play that card. So we are going to see the attachment to the Mew on the bench, and it looks like eyeing up a Fusion Strike system for 4 cards. We'll see what playable cards we find there. There is a boss's orders, so could go ahead and target down something, but at this point I feel like you'd rather just take the knockout on the 3 prize Pokemon, hope your opponent doesn't have it, and then you have it locked up the turn after.
And that's exactly what Heddi's going to do. Knock out the active Cross Fusion Strike, KOing the active Mew VMAX, and now Mateusz with a couple of routes to win the game. Let's see if the options are there. Plays a Power Tablet, it looks like. Ultra Ball can now get a Pokemon out or just thin cards out of the hand. It looks like just thinning cards out. Either needs 1 more damage modifier or a boss's orders. Either of those 2 pieces means Mateusz wins the game. Looking for either a Choice Belt or a boss. Doesn't find it off of the Rose Tower, but there's 4 Genesects in play, Ethan. It's pretty likely we're going to see it happen.
Yeah, very likely indeed. Quick Ball will get rid of the Mew. Already used the Rose Tower, no Genesects used yet, and there is maybe 15 to 20 cards left in that deck at max, as we will see the first Fusion Strike system for 5. There's the Choice Belt.
The Choice Belt.
And the Power Tablet. It's going to be plenty in order to take the knockout. Just going to throw the ball down.
Extra damage, why not?
That's it, and that's a great explanation here for Mateusz is going to go ahead and go to 6-0.
What a great spot to be in.
That is an absolutely excellent spot to be in. You are 1 match point away from day 2, and frankly, you have 3 more rounds to propel yourself even further ahead of the rest of the competition.
Oh yeah, if you make it to 6-0, you're playing all those games out. You're trying to get as many match points as possible. 9-0 is the dream. It happens very rarely. It's very difficult to do, but if you can go 9-0 in day 1, that is just setting yourself up so well to make top 8. Congratulations to Mateusz, and well played by Heddi. Things didn't quite go their way. This mirror match, those draws in the early turns really can kind of shape whether or not you're going to be the winner, and things just seems to go a little bit better for Mateusz. You know, the battle VIP passes, the damage modifiers, they were flowing a little better over on that side of the table, and now moves to 6-0.
Yeah, it's Mew. Not much else I
Mew.
can say. It is Mew doing Mew things, and it was both players playing Mew on top of that. So can't stress enough, this archetype is performing very well today. It is to maybe to some people's surprise because of, again, those regional placements and performances in recent days, but I believe it did get second at Latin American Regional. So like it has been not taking anything down necessarily, but it's been performing well, and we see how this engine has been built. Maybe with the extra Fog Crystals as well, you have more draw, you have
a little
more
extra
aggressive and
too.
kick to your start of your game, to start